I told you last night I wanted to fly today before the snow comes in tomorrow. So this morning about 10 o'clock, a friend of mine texted me just one little word, fly, question mark. And I said, yeah, I already had that planned. So I went out to do a bunch of tests. I had auto mission to test, and I wanted to test the battery failsafe, and I wanted to test the radio failsafe. Well, I couldn't keep the ground station connected Mavlink today. It did stay for a while, this, that, and the other. And then a little later, I knocked the notebook computer off the car onto the ground, and it's not broke. And I'm a computer technician, so it's no problem. But I don't have much ground station data. I don't have much anything. Me and my friend were just having fun. So I did get the radio failsafe tested. So I'll show you that real quick. I got that almost completely. I don't have telemetry to the ground station for this. I don't even have the video out of the flight controller saved for this and the video out of the GoPro. RunCam Orange wouldn't tell you a thing about this, but I'll let you watch the battery failsafe test real quick. This made me happy. Stabilize. Oh, by the way, it was extremely windy today, but neither one of us cared.
Well, we're going to try turning off the radio.
Receiver still connected.
It's going up, and it's going towards return to home. Thank God.
Also notice it's flying backwards to the home point. And that was that one perimeter I discussed on the way the thing faces. We'll revisit that right after we land here because I need to change that feature. I don't want it like this. I had done 2 or 3 other return to launches today with different orientations, and it just stays in whatever orientation it's in when it goes into return to launch and then heads to the home point, but I don't like it that way.
I was worried that the radio failsafe wasn't going to work, but it worked perfectly. Now then, I'm going to take it out of that.
No, you're not, you daft old man. You forgot to turn the radio back on.
And evidently the batteries are too weak. Now I lost connection. So I don't know what the...
So you see, I thought the battery's too low for a ptarmigan there. Yeah, I used to be better. Anyway, you see, I walked it out there, got it down to a low level because I didn't want it to fall far if it fell. I could handle it if it shot up. I knew I would know immediately if it works or not so much because it fell, but because it would start going up to the 25 feet that the return to launch is set to right now. I've got it set to something centimeters that equals 25 feet because I don't want to set that too high yet. So as soon as I turned off the radio, it started climbing up to the 25 feet, and then you saw it backed up to the home point, landed, and I was confused over the control radio being currently turned off and if I had low batteries. I walked over to the ground station to see, and the ground station had disconnected at some time X in the past, and there was no battery information on the ground station. Now, I do have CRSF telemetry down to the radio, but I've got to put some of those on my front screen or find me some glasses or something in the field. So that went perfectly, and that was one of the things I wanted to test, and that really does free me up to go more. As long as it's going to do exactly what it did right there, if the radio shuts off in any shape, form, or fashion, or it goes out of range of the radio. That's the major reason we have a radio failsafe. It goes out of range of the radio. It'll do exactly what it did right here. So I need that more than anything else. So I'm really happy that I got that test done and proved. I did try at one point to invoke the battery fail-safe, but again, not looking at the radio or having any glasses with me to be able to do that on the small radio screen. I flew it around to the point where the battery the platform got mushy, but it never invoked a return to home on the battery failsafe, so I've got to look at that a little deeper next time. Like I said, I did try 2 or 3 return to homes. They worked well, except all of them went to the home point. If I turned it where it was sideways to the home point, it went home sideways. So, and I also did start an auto mission, but the platform started getting out of my sight, and I got scared. Truth is truth. And flipped the old crap button because I thought it was going past the waypoint that I had set in the field. When I got home and started looking at the data, no, it really wasn't. I should have just hung out, and I think it would have worked perfectly. So, let's look at the thing I'm talking about, the waypoint orientation now, real quick. Wait a minute, let's not do that and say we did. I just noticed something in this frame. It's embarrassing, but I'm a real confident person, probably to a fault. That's because I don't mess around. I call things as I see them. So anytime I just tell truth so constantly, I don't care what goes on. Some people would hide stuff, but I don't. The reason the computer and tub fell out of the car is because I have this antenna tower you can see right here set up, and then there's a USB cable goes over from it and plugs into the notebook inside that tub in the little hatch in the back of the car. It's got a little thing that comes down to supposedly hide items when the hatch is closed, and I just let that down and set it on it. So it's kind of cloth covered and slick, but it works real well. It's at the right level and everything. And today, rather than set this real near the car and raise it up high, which I should have done, will do in the future, I set it away from the car because that USB cable is really, really long. I think it's a 16-foot. And I didn't want it being close to all the metal and stuff in the car for reception. So there, it was sitting a ways away from the car. And at one point in the day, early, I just started walking that way, looking down at the radio, and just walked right through that USB cable. And that's what pulled the notebook computer inside the tub and the tub off the car to fall about 3 or 4 feet to the ground in the sand. Picked it up, the keyboards all got sand in it and everything, and half the keys wouldn't work till I got it home, cleaned it out. I did it. Like I say, I'm confident enough to just tell y'all that it happens. Been happening more and more lately in the last 2 years or so than it's ever happened in my life. But I just noticed something else in this picture. I wondered why I didn't get any. This is the video receiver right here on the antenna tower, I call it. And you see right there where the USB cable's unplugged from the bottom about an inch, because when I walked through this cable, by the way, this didn't even try to turn over. It just jerked enough down through this Velcro wrap and this Velcro wrap to just pull it out an inch. That's why I wondered later. The ground station not connecting MavLink, wasn't the point of my thing today, but I thought I would just hook it up, and then later I could see how the MavLink performed. But I did expect to get much more flight camera video, and I didn't quite understand until just now, because I hadn't really researched this yet until I saw this frame. That's why I got a lot of recorded snow in the portion of it that was supposed to be recording that output of that USB port right there. This is what it's recording, is this output right here directly. And I have it recording that. It's a multicam recorder, screen recorder, part of Video Studio. Can do up to 6 cameras, screen and 5 cameras, all synced and everything. It's pretty sweet. And yeah, you can look a little closer and see it's just not going to work. So I have already looked at it, all the videos before I started this, but I hadn't thought about it or started digging deep or anything into it yet. But while I was doing this, I just noticed right there's the reason my my capture of the video on the flight camera didn't continue even after the MavLink disconnected from Mission Planner. I don't think the radio ever disconnected Wi-Fi. But again, that wasn't the point of these flights. I will be going out specifically for those points in the future. Let's talk about that perimeter real quick. And that particular perimeter is a waypoint perimeter. So WP underscore, and it has to do with yaw. There we go. Waypoint yaw behavior. I've already changed it. It was a 2. And remember this past week, I sort of wondered about this one, and when it came along, it said face next waypoint except RTL. And testing it today, and you could see it right there in that test of the radio failsafe, that it just backed up perfectly. I put it in about 4 or 5 different orientations, and it doesn't rotate at all. Now, with this value as a 1, it will. Face next waypoint, and RTL is considered a waypoint. I did a return to home from way out in the field, and it backed up the whole way. That's why that particular 4K video isn't worth a hoot, because the way it tilts when it's backing up, the run cam orange just tilted straight up at nothing but sky the whole time it was backing up to the waypoint. I'll go ahead and show that. Let's go ahead and show my, because I mentioned earlier I would show that. This is my chicken out. Here's the mission I set up in the platform before I went to fly. It's pretty simple. I was going to park in this area, So I figured I would fly from here up to this irrigation ditch. This whole area was full of pallets and stuff today that weren't there like 2 days ago. Fly up to this irrigation ditch. I would fly out to right here, across this irrigation ditch right here. And from that point, I would fly back to this area. I'm trying to stay away from these trees because my return to launch is still 25 feet. It still was only proven to my expectations today, so I can now reset it for 150 to 200 feet, somewhere around in there for this area. That'll pretty much, 150 will probably get it above all the trees, but a lot of these trees around here, some of them will be 120 feet tall. And 30 feet when the barometer varies and the altitude technically varies from perfect altitude. 30 feet doesn't sound like much of a buffer to me. 80 sounds better. Maybe 50, so 170 foot, but that's for the future at this point. So I was just going to bring it back down the field. I wanted to see how it was going to handle this waypoint being a very, very sharp turn. This was going to be a little more than a 90 here, a very sharp one here, a shallow one here, was going to run out to here in this field, and then just bring it back into this area someplace near me, and then do the return to home here so that I could watch what it did for its yaw and stuff on the return to home. And I think I can show this to you. I had several problems with this mission today. Some of them just totally new to me. And to my poor little old eyes, I did have the cataract surgery and my vision is better. The problem is my vision wasn't as perfect as they told me it was going to be. So it looks like I still need glasses. And I do definitely up close, because your lens can't focus after they do cataract surgery, and that's just a fixed focal length. So they told me I could do one of two things. If I didn't want to wear glasses, I could just pick up reading glasses when I wanted to read something up close. Well, I wore glasses since I was 5 years old for like 64 years of my life. I was tired of wearing glasses. And, or they said we can give you glasses and they'll be bifocals, but in truth, the main part of the lens will just be straight glass, and the bifocal part will be reading glasses where you can just look down, and it'll be like you were before. You had good vision. It'll be even better out the glass now, and when you look down in the bifocals, you'll have your reading glasses basically, and you'll be wearing glasses all the time again. I really don't want that. If you ever wore glasses, sweating and all that, and coming in out of the cold, and there's just a lot of negatives about glasses. But I mean, they're not as negative as a bee sting, but still, there's some negatives in there. So I'm still working that out. I could have gone to an ophthalmologist already and had a true eye exam done again and made some decisions, but I've just been kind of hanging out and going without glasses for a little while and letting all that surgery settle down. I'm supposed to go back 1 year after the cataract surgery, but I'll probably go before. So we'll get back to this here. What happened here is it made this turn, but it only got out to about right here before I chickened out because couldn't quite see it. And Walter and Pam were discussing something else and weren't really being my visual observers, which is no big deal to me. So against this tree line and with my eyes and stuff, when I could no longer make sure I saw it, instead of hanging out and letting it do its thing because it was its first ever, even though it had made this turn correctly, I don't know if it had lost link with MavLink by this time and I couldn't see it on the ground station because I wasn't paying much attention to the ground station yet. I don't trust Mavlink, so it was basically set up to just start working in the background to see what problems it could have. It isn't having the problems anymore like it did when I tried to use the camera in two places and it got all glitched up. But knocking it off the back of the car doesn't help a darn thing. So let's see if I can illustrate that at all. This is the flight cam footage, and I hadn't run all over the ground station yet, so it's all working. You'll see I try to go into auto, and there's mode change into auto failed. So I picked it up and stabilized. The OSD's fair at this point. I had to move some of the things on the right to the left last night before I wanted to fly today. There's the test of the RTL. And in this flight camera, you can see it's just coming back in the same orientation it was in. I'd rather it turn around and face it and let you see in the camera. And that would point that camera down. Would also point the 4K camera down. But link quality and RSSI I'm playing with up there next to altitude hold. So I put it in altitude hold and then touched auto and it took off. It wouldn't do it from the ground. In the old days it would. When I say the old days, I haven't done this in 6 years. I haven't flown any auto missions with airplanes yet. There's my waypoint and we rotate to the next one. I guess that artificial horizon needs to come down another line. I already brought it down one. 100 feet, 101. That's all doing well. We're heading for the waypoint, but I couldn't tell how far out in the field it was. We've got 1 watt of power going on. The camera looks better outdoors and with stuff at a distance. And you're going to see in the upper left RTL. And again, you see how the thing's coming back home? Notice the tilt on it too. So you see, I think the tilt is exaggerated. Well, it wasn't coming home exactly backwards. It was coming home oriented a little to the right, so I guess that is correct. But see, that doesn't make for any kind of a good picture in the 4K video. But that too was my chicken out. HDOP looks good, 14 sats, 1 watt. Basically, waypoint nav is at 22 miles an hour. You can see at this point, 220 on the flight. 84 Fahrenheit on the ESC temperatures. The throttle is not correct. The altitude, vertical speed is good. Milliamp hours burned. That might be able to go back to the right, and the voltage go back to the right 1 column. And I think I'll have that. There I am, just in stabilized mode, just playing with it some more there. But again, there's not much more to show of this. I guess I could show an embarrassing moment when I was passed over, overflown by DJI. There goes Walter. This is the RunCam 4K video, and you see they just got all sorts of stuff in this field from 2 days ago. Look at all those signs on the left side of the road saying, please don't walk in our freshly seeded fields. So, we spent a lot of time just doing this kind of stuff today. I took out the 3500 milliamp hour battery and flew it. I wanted to fly it down until I could make it feel safe, but I never did. And because of throwing the computer on the ground and stuff, I don't think I got telemetry data to even tell me one way or another. So there's a little 4K for you. No, not much to it here. My car, you can see how far the antenna tower was from the back of the car before I tried to walk through that gap. Oh a good place to fly. You'll see more of it. And then I started kind of horsing the thing around to see how much it would overshoot, etc., etc., etc. I think right now I'm bringing it in for a landing. I'm not sure. But anyway, that was pretty good. Near the end of the day, I put the really big battery on it. That thing weighs 3.5 pounds.
Whoa!
Now. And
That battery's heavy.
A few little tests with it. It handled the big battery well. I was hoping I was going to get telemetry data and data flash. Well, I haven't looked at the data flash at all yet. I was just going to get some
Return to home.
information out of this flight, how it flies with the big battery. Now, I can tell you straight up, it was clumsy. It was lumbering. It was
25 feet.
225?
25 feet.
not as
for
much
right now.
fun to fly.
If it's above that, it
Weighted
stays
down, I'll
wherever
just
it's
tell
at.
you.
If it's below that, it'll go
It
up
did
to
well.
25 feet.
Let me see if I can get a little more interesting stuff here. How about some punch outs? See what the ESC data will be like.
And I had been in contact with them several times to let them know that this is city they borrowed. And about a month ago, I was randomly looking at the news, and there was a article saying that
So that's all I've got for today, and we're back to the frame we started on. I do have a lot more information that I did develop today, but this has gone over for 5 or 6 minutes too long already, headed for 7 minutes too long, and I'll just offer that up in another video. Thanks, guys.